All right, we're back with you inside of the Africa Forum. It is Running African. Thank you so much for being a part of the experience. We're going to go to the phone lines. All right, so June 15, which is tomorrow, has been recognized as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day for the past 14 years by the WHO. In this segment of the program, going to be speaking with my two very special guests who are online now. Rochelle Amor, who is a gerontologist and researcher on the Stride Dementia Project. No stranger to the Africa Forum. This is at the Caribbean Institute for Health Research at UWI-Mona. She specializes in advocacy and communications. And Janelle Robinson, researcher on the Stride Project, trained in forensic psychology and forensic mental health counseling. And they're both online. Good morning, Rochelle. Hey, Rochelle, you there? Good morning, Janelle.
Good morning.
All right. So this is Janelle, no Rochelle? All right. So, Janelle, morning. Well, Janelle, while I have you, forensic psychology and forensic mental health counseling. Let us talk quickly about what those two things are while we await Rochelle.
Sure, no problem. So, forensic psychology and mental health counseling is really just the practice of psychology within the forensic setting. So, we're talking about dealing with offenders, perpetrators, victims within the courts. And within the courts, just within the legal system. Mm-hmm. And in my case, I predominantly dealt with youth ages 13 to 24. Mm-hmm. However, you may be wondering, what's the connection with older persons? But as we know, behaviors in our younger years influence the quality of life in our older years. Mm-hmm. So when I returned to Jamaica, I got involved with the Stride Dementia Research Project. And I was able to see particularly how these behaviors in our younger age impacted whether the onset and progression of dementia. So it was very easy for me to make that transition from younger people to older people, looking on a lifespan approach, because it's all connected.
All right, let's hold a sec for me, because I want to conference you with Rochelle. We're going to conference this call, so hold one sec for me. We're speaking to Janelle Robinson, and as I said before, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Do I have both now? All right. So let me continue with you, Janelle.
Yes.
All right. Sure. All right. So let's talk about those behaviors that you reference. Some of those behaviors that can impact your older years, and possibly whether or not you get dementia.
Right. Yeah. So we're talking about lifestyle factors.
All right, hang on. Sorry to interrupt you again. Let me just do this conferencing. It's not me, it's Shamar. So blame Shamar. All right, I'm so sorry about that. All right, I think I have you both now. Rochelle, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Rochelle, you're hiding. All right. All right, good to have you again. I miss you from studio, but we're social distancing. All right, so Janelle was just telling me about the behaviors that she referenced earlier that could possibly impact whether or not a person ends up with dementia. Go ahead, Janelle.
Right. So we're talking about simple lifestyle factors that may influence. So things like mental exercise. So it's very important for us to keep the brain active from our early stages, younger years, throughout our older years. Physical exercise is one of those lifestyle factors as well, because one of the risk factors with dementia is obesity. And then we talk about nutrition. So reducing our alcohol intake, reducing cigarette smoking, and sleep. Sleep, along with these other factors, have been found to reduce the likelihood of developing dementia. And all these activities, as I mentioned, we should begin within our younger years.
And it's interesting because we hear about sleep all the time. And what do you mean sleep? You know, a good night. What does good night rest look like? How many hours and how deep should you be sleeping?
Right. So a good night's rest uninterrupted is 6 to 8 hours. And the research has shown anything on average 6 to 8 hours is ideal for younger people and throughout the lifespan as well. And the older you get, the time may reduce, but ideally 6 to 8 hours, because that's the time when our body and our brain repairs itself. And as we know, dementia is a disease of the brain. So it's very important for us to be kind to ourselves and give our body that time to recuperate and to heal during that sleeping time. All right, Rochelle, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Really, you know, I'm sorry to say that as much as we've been talking about dementia and so on in this space, and it hit so close home to me, I didn't know about World Elder Abuse Awareness Day until you reached out to us. So talk to us a little bit about this day, where it came from, when it started, and what are the aims, what are the objectives, what's happening there?
No problem. Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry about those technical difficulties earlier. So we're still figuring out this social distancing thing. But thank you, Kabu, for having us yet again. So happy to be here today. So World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is definitely something a lot of people are only now starting to hear about. It has been around for 14 years now, and it was started by the World Health Organization when it recognized that elder abuse is definitely a public health issue all around the world. And the day was started to get people talking about the issue, because as we know, so many older persons who experience abuse are not in a position to report it. And so in that line of speaking up for those who are not able to speak for themselves, the day was established as a day of recognition where we encourage conversation among our communities and our leaders to really bring to light the challenges that are faced by elder abuse victims in the home, in institutions, even on the streets sometimes, and really talk about ways that we can combat this as a community. And of course, for us with dementia, I'm not sure if Janelle has mentioned, but persons with dementia are at a higher risk of experiencing elder abuse. So it's of particular interest to us at Stride.
You know, and it would be, and I think so many of us have seen older people within the society being abused even by youths, by much younger people. So there's really not much awareness around the abuse of elderly people within the community. And so how prevalent is this within the Jamaican context?
You raise a really good point there. And what's happening is that different authorities in the Jamaican space are trying to collaborate and collect information and data on the numbers, because there is no, like you said, authority like there is for child abuse to track and record and research this issue. There's currently a collaborative effort being made. I know one of the entities is the National Council for Senior Citizens at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, and so they are trying to get a clear picture of what's happening in the Jamaican space. But we do know on average that 1 in 6 persons around the world will experience or have experienced elder abuse. And in the Caribbean, we also know that financial abuse against older persons is a very challenging issue.
How do you know, and I suppose Janelle could take this, if a member of your family, an older person within your family is being abused?
Right, Kabu. So there are several signs that we can look out for. But it's also important to recognize that people who actually commit abuse are often in a position of trust. So oftentimes these are family members. These are individuals who older persons were put in their care. So we talk about long-term care facility and healthcare workers. And abuse comes in different forms. So, for example, physical abuse. We look for bruises. We look for broken bones, cuts, sores, burns, untreated bed sores, stained or bloody clothing, unexplained sexual transmitted diseases, dehydration, overall poor living conditions. But those are signs of physical abuse and sexual abuse. But then we have the unseen side. So we talk about emotional signs. You'll probably notice the older person uncharacteristically fearful or experiencing anxiety. They may be unresponsive, isolated, and they may exhibit rather unusual behavior. So unusual behaviors can mean sleeping patterns, anything that they wouldn't typically engage in. And those are some of the emotional signs. And even depression. Because being abused lead physically, emotionally, financially, lead to other mental health challenges that we need to recognize. And then we had financial abuse and some other signs I think Rochelle hinted on before. Look for unusual changes in bank accounts, money management, sudden withdrawals, changes in wills or financial documents. Then we have the whole issue of fraudulent signatures on financial documents, unpaid bills. And these are some of the things that, as family members, as even people who are within the network of these older persons, can look out for.
And Rochelle, why are people living with dementia more likely to be abused as elders?
Well, we know that persons in general who are dependent are definitely at higher risk. And persons who experience cognitive decline, so they may not, they may not have the ability to report or speak up for themselves or defend themselves. And so this makes them even more likely to really be at the mercy, so to speak, of their abuser, whom, as Janelle pointed out, is usually a trusted person. But as we know, caring for a person living with dementia is a full-time job. And it can be extremely difficult, especially if the person providing the care is not really aware or familiar with the symptoms of dementia, or what we call the unpredictable symptoms and behaviors in dementia. So we know that some persons with dementia, because they are no longer able to communicate the way they once did, they might try to communicate in ways that might come across as very aggressive. They might repeat themselves many, many times. They might wander off. They might do a lot of things that, because we're all human, as a caregiver, it can be extremely frustrating and even infuriating if you're being attacked and you don't understand that it's not the person's fault. It's not that they're trying to be aggressive or to be attacking you. It's a symptom that's manifesting because of something else. Perhaps they are in pain, perhaps they feel uncomfortable, perhaps they are overwhelmed or overstimulated, and this is what's happening. So we really encourage, especially caregivers of persons living with dementia, to become very educated about the condition, to really, make themselves aware of what they can expect, to meet with their doctors, to speak to health professionals, to get support in managing these symptoms in a way that is kind and ethical and, can really help with your own frustration and help with your own sense of anger when managing these things. And to also just really have a plan to cope with that stress or anger or frustration. Because again, we are only human. It's going to happen, right? We're going to get really frustrated, especially with behaviors that can come across as almost dangerous. And so having a plan in place, having other persons in our network or family members support us during these times, having outlets to really kind of blow off that steam, so that it doesn't come out against our loved one, because we know that it's not their fault and they don't deserve it. That is crucial. And I think one of the main goals of World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is to simply raise awareness around the fact that elder abuse can be unintentional.
And I think it's timely, it's timely that we are at least talking about this in this space. It's important to raise awareness about this, about elder abuse. And you're saying sometimes it can be unintentional, and that to be aware of that also. We're totally out of time, Rochelle and Janelle, but I just wanted to thank you so much for bringing this to our attention and allowing us to have a little space to talk about this. It's something that I think we should spend some more time talking about. Anything you want to say quickly before I go in a quick final point?
Yes, please. We would like to encourage officers, organization, including Area FM, to wear purple tomorrow. Tomorrow being Monday, 15th June, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day.
To wear purple?
Yes, wear purple in solidarity with victims of elder abuse. And Janelle, is there anything else?
No, that's definitely it. Wear purple, hashtag us, hashtag WEAAD, hashtag Stride Jamaica. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to us at our email. That's stridejamaica@gmail.com, or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Stride Jamaica.
Thank you so much, Janelle Robinson and Rochelle Moore. All right, no problem. All right, so much to get through, but I really wanted to talk about that whole thing with that recently came to our public attention by way of social media. Prominent ethnic Chinese Jamaican national displaying fulminant symptoms of a novel colonial virus, a novel colonial affliction, Columbine, apologister. And for me to diagnose this, and I think that we should see this not just as a Kevin O'Brien Chang thing, but that there are many more in Jamaica, many, many more than we care to think about, who think this way. And Kevin O'Brien Chang has apologized. His apology leaves a lot to be desired, and so it doesn't come across as an apology. Whether or not you accept that is up to you, but we need to move on from Kevin and to talk about now educating the nation, educating ourselves, decolonizing education, because there are symptoms of this novel colonial virus, and we're seeing this where so many find virtue in European capture and enslavement of Africans in the diaspora. There's also information deprivation and memory gaps, and some of these memory gaps are resulting in the kind of incoherent outburst that we got from Mr. Chang when he asked, had Columbus not sailed, would we be here? Bizarre concoction there of the virus. Caribs, he's talking about cannibalizing Tainos to extinction. It is laughable. It really is funny, but it's not so funny when you put it within the context of colonial education in Jamaica. So people like him and others, urgent treatment is required, and we talked about part of the treatment earlier, which is the reading of Ivan Van Sertima, and in particular, they came before Columbus. Professor Van Sertima has transcended, but he was a mentor to me, a mentor to this program, and he's been on this program many times over the years. They Came Before Columbus is a book that we've discussed inside out and outside in. We probably need to return to some of those conversations. Mansa Kankan Musa, So there's also a second course of treatment for the novel colonial virus, which is Professor Sheikh Anta Diop, Chancellor Williams, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakanan, and this is for cerebral enlightenment. Reading maketh the man. And that's not a lie. So there need to be that kind of a cerebral enlightenment on the culture, African civilization and legacy. Also, if after you've done that you're psychosocially stabilized, then there's still more reading that you probably are ready for, and that's Morley Moore Marcus Mosiah Garvey. This is maintenance therapy and local philosophical nutraceuticals. Daily regimen of the philosophies and opinions of Morley Moore Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We are indeed indebted, to this ethnic Chinese in Jamaica. It's a Jamaican nationality because he has inadvertently, misadventurously crossed the blue wall of silence, thereby exposing the festering epidemic by this neo-colonial mental biohazard that must, by extrapolation, be cultured, manipulated, and programmed by a complex of minority ethnicities, private sector, church, and state. Now we know what is in their mind. We have the evidence, and we should also know how to move. There's a lot to say on what has happened. There's a lot to say on what we heard from Mr. Chang, and we'll continue the conversation. But most importantly, we must use it as a teachable moment to remind ourselves that we came before Columbus, that there's no such things as no Carib eating no Tainos. And the people we call the Caribs, we should be saying the Kalinagas. It's a teachable moment. Let's use the correct terms. Let's look again. Let's revisit the history, and let us more than anything else, decolonize education and decolonize the curriculum. This is how we're saying goodbye. Good morning, Natalie. How you doing? Long time. You come in for Big A? I'm joking. I saw Big A. What you up to? We could take a look at time from Big A. So what going on? It's a long time.
Yeah, it's a while.
Please grab a microphone. It's 10 o'clock. Where's Big A? Nat, grab a microphone before Big A comes.
Morning, everybody. Morning, listeners.
Yes, morning.
Well, I'm here because we got a message that the Prime Minister wants to have an urgent press conference this morning at 10.
Okay.
Urgent national issues.
So should I go live to the Prime Minister now? Or
give me a second.
Or are we not carrying him live? All right.
That's the plan. The plan is to go live. I'm not sure yet what the issues are. But
Natalie just hijacked your program. It's preempted.
Should I go home? Should I go home? I have a wonderful day planned for my son there.
Well, but that you go, but you know that I can't tell you what to do. Not anymore. So should I turn over to begin?
No, but yes, because it hasn't started. It's due to start at 10, but obviously it hasn't started.
You can play 2 songs, begin.
Yeah.
Well, the preaching thing.
and we see how it goes.
So, Natalie, do we know what this is about?
No, I tried to find out, and all I was told is urgent national issues.
Okay, so we expect that he probably is going to talk about the police killings.
I'm thinking crime
and COVID.
Yes,
and back to school.
Well, some of those were addressed on Friday.
Okay,
obviously something else has developed that prompted this one this morning.
Wow. Well, we'll stand by for that. The Big A is up next. I just want to say thanks to you, Natalie. Thanks to my broadcast assistant, Shamara Preston. Thanks to all those who participated in the program this morning. All my interviewees. We're out of time, so I'm not calling it all the names. But thank you so much. And thank you for listening on the 107s. 107.1 all the way to 107.9. So Natalie is standing by, and we will be carrying the address to the nation by the Prime Minister live as soon as he comes on. We understand it's scheduled for 10. It's now 3 after 10, but let's see what happens. The Big A is up next with the Sunday Sunshine, and don't go anywhere if you want to hear that. We'll also be carrying it live, all right? So the Big A is coming up shortly. See you next week. What good? Tell him I don't want to howdy.